Hi guys, and welcome back to the 92 Diaries. We are your hosts. I'm Juliet,
It's your girl, Miss Chardz.
And B.
and today's topic we are talking about our journeys with our faith. So we're talking all things religion, faith, our walk with God, when we fell off, and all of that good stuff. So, where do you even start? Okay.
Fell off.
Well,
No, we start at the beginning, at the Genesis. We start at the beginning.
what birth? Well, the actual book of the Bible, Genesis. Like, I'm not sure.
No, it's just a metaphor, girl. Stop.
Chardz, can I just say I really like your nails?
Oh, thank you. You know, girl, I've been having compliments. I don't know why. It's only like khaki green, guys, but
It's lovely.
thank you. Thank
Moving
you.
on.
Swiftly.
But
At the Genesis.
I think what's it called? Maybe like where did actually if I could ask both of you guys, I guess open question to the floor. How did your walk with God begin? What religion are you, and what kind of a role does your religion slash faith work in your life right now?
Okay. You think for her? I think 3 needs a minute. The story. I like this one. So I am Catholic, by birth and by baptism and by Holy Communion and by confirmation. However, at the moment, I just deem myself a Christian. I think the definition for Christianity or being Christian is to be Christ-like, and that is more of my aim than to be narrowed down to one dominion. So for me, I classify myself as a Christian, whether it's Catholic or however, just a Christian. So where my journey started, obviously I was baptized as a baby. I had my Holy Communion. So I've always been going to Catholic churches as a child with my family. My family are Sunday church goers, and we always used to go pretty much every Sunday as a family. So had my Holy Communion, did a little bit of Bible study when you prepare for your Holy Communion, but I don't feel like I really kind of came away with the proper understanding. I then had my confirmation, and at that point you're saying, I accept, God into my life as an adult. Again, I still feel like at that stage, though I knew I was still on that path and still wanted God to be my personal Lord and Savior, I didn't really get the definition or, I didn't get the depth of what it was about. Now, the time that it changed for me is when I moved to Nigeria for 3 years and I went to boarding school. Now, I went to an Anglican school, and they, to be honest, the way they practice religion in Nigeria is so different to the way they practice it here. Anyway, but again, depending on the type of church you go to. Now, for me, even my family, when we were in Nigeria, we still went to Catholic churches on Sunday when I was a day student. But when I was in boarding school, it was fellowship. It was how Anglicans practice worship, fellowship and praises and etc. And then Bible study. And for me, it was at that point where I became more in tune with my faith, and my eyes opened, and I recognized my faith and my relationship with God. And from that point, I feel like my life is God-led, and it just has been from there. And I have that deeper understanding. And yes, there are times that I fall off as an adult, and yes, there are times that I fall off in this day in life when you come back to Britain and you get down to the hustle and bustle of life and work life and relationships and so on and so forth. However, I feel for me that core is still there. Since my eyes have been opened, the way I pray is different. My core belief is deep and it's rooted, even when I fall off, because I know that I can always come back. And that's me.
Okay.
Hi.
Hey.
So for those of you who don't know, my name B doesn't even derive from any letter in my name apart from the F. My name is Fahana, and it
There
means
are only 2 letters. sorry.
shade. Chardz. Maybe you should have a glass of Chardonnay.
You know what? I'm just.
Farhana means joyful, and it's a Muslim name. So my background, both my parents are Muslim. My dad doesn't practice anymore. My mum does practice. That being said, she doesn't go mosque every Friday, but she does go for Eid, etc. My parents have brought me up to spend a majority of my time with God alone. They have brought me up to believe I don't necessarily have to be in a place of worship to worship God, but I do have to make the time on a daily basis to spend time with God. Now, that being said, both of my parents were raised in Catholic boarding schools, so they have a healthy appreciation and knowledge of Christianity as well. And because of that, they sent my brother and they sent us to Catholic schools as well. So I also have a healthy appreciation of both Christianity and Islam. A lot of people will probably crucify me for this, but need to stop using religious puns. A lot of people will probably get onto me for this, but I see a lot of similarities between the religions. There is a lot more we have in common than we have that is different, and I think because of that, I like to think I play an important role. I have had people in the past make me feel uncomfortable because I am a Black woman and because I have a different faith than what they deem a Black person should be.
Yeah.
I have been made to feel uncomfortable. Therefore, I don't always go around advocating or advertising what it is that the religion it is that I follow. I'm not uncomfortable to step into a church. I am uncomfortable to step into some churches, but I'm not going to get into that. That's an entire different subject for a different matter. But when I went to see Julie one weekend, I did go with her to her church, and I found it really uplifting. It was a really good sermon. I loved every minute of it. And I've gone with Chardz to some services in uni, and I've enjoyed it. So it's like I'm not closed off. I think I'm very open. I do have a Quran. I do have a Bible. Do I read my Quran as much as I should? No. Am I trying to? Yes. I think my relationship with God has been very, very up down. It's never been ever stable. I'm still working it out now, but I think the moment I became proper in tune with God was this time 2 years ago. Let me not get twisted. This time 2 years ago, when I was in a really, really dark place, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And in that time, I think it would have been very easy to blame it on God, that this is your fault. But in that time, I had a moment of clarity and said, no, this is the time now to delve down even deeper in the faith. And that's what I've been doing ever since. I spend quite a bit of time listening to Pastor Stephen Furtick. I love his sermons. I think they're so uplifting. Yes. Honestly, they give me life. But that being said, I also spend some of my time as well listening to Islamic sermons as well. And Islam is a peaceful religion, despite how the media portrays it. It is a peaceful religion. I myself am a Muslim. You guys know me. I don't go out there doing the most. Obviously, there are people out there who do follow the religion to an extreme extent, and I think that's what gives it the bad name. There is kind of like the different domains in Christianity. It's almost like that's what I see they're doing with the extremism in Islam. They are of their own domain. They have got nothing to do with the majority of us. We are peace-loving people. We go about our business. We want to help those around us, whether you're Black, white, whether you're Jewish, Christian, Buddhist, whatever. Like, we are a peaceful bunch of people, and I think that people need to give us a bit more, not like, what's the word?
Slack?
Yes, a bit more slack when it comes to just jumping down our throats. That means that I'm not the best Muslim out there. I had pepperoni pizza about 2 weeks ago. I'm not gonna lie.
Girl.
I did. I'm not even gonna.
I don't think you can't throw the shade, because there's a lot of Christians who drink and get drunk.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But like,
doing everything, breaking all the commandments.
But then you'll get people within your religions as well that are judging you. You shouldn't be doing this, and you shouldn't be doing.
Oh, everybody points it down.
Everybody does it, and I'm just a bit like, you let me have my walk with God, and I'll leave you to your walk with God. It's as simple as that. It's a one-on-one relationship. Everyone's relationship with God is different, and how we all choose to spend our time with God is different. I do try to fast during Ramadan. It is very hard for me. I see a lot of people that find it easy well, not easy, but they're used to it. But with me, they're just whoop. Gets to a point where I just can't, and I have to break fast, which is sad. But I do try it every single year. My point is basically I would say I'm Muslim, but I have a healthy appreciation for Christianity. I still refer to it sometimes if I'm a bit lost. I still use it every day, and that is what it is. But that's just my personal belief. Ultimately, as long as I believe in God and the ultimate being who's looking down on us every single day and making sure I'm getting in that first breath when I wake up in the morning, and I can turn off my light and sleep in peace, I don't need nothing else.
Can I just say something about Fee's, like, which I like to call a testimony, when she was in a really like dark place? I remember that period, and God knows I was throwing Furtick at her, like left, right, and center. I was like, and not in a forceful way, but I was just like, this, from everything you're telling me, all the conversations we had, I'm like, I feel like this applies, and I hope it would like uplift you. And honestly, guys, I can, like, until I get married, for now, I will say one of the happiest days of my life was when Fee called me, and she just kind of like, not, it wasn't a breakdown, but it was like an eye-opener. At that point, you called me and you told me how you have seen it, like how you've come back to your belief, how you feel uplifted again, and how you're building your relationship back. And literally the smile, I was driving to work to Colchester back then, and the smile that was on my face, the joy that was in my heart, just I am like, I'm just so happy when someone actually finds that same relationship, because I know how I feel in my relationship with God. And when he's there, it's not like things are always going right or anything like that, but it's just an absolute joy to know and to have that, to feel that relationship with him. And when someone else can feel that or gets to that point, honestly, it makes me so happy. So
honestly,
I think one thing just before I go into my journey, to be honest, one thing that I love is that a lot of my good friends are Muslim. And we have conversations about how God walks in our life every day, and how we pray in our struggles and I think you don't need to be of the same religion to be able to talk about your faith.
Definitely.
Your faith is your faith, and how you choose to practice it with your religion is your own business. But at the end of the day, everyone's going to have struggles at any point in their life, and being able to talk to somebody, whether they are Christian or Muslim, about your faith, I think is so powerful, because in its own way, that is fellowship. That is fellowship, and I think that's what faith should be about. But if we're talking about, our stories and all that, so my mum is, mum's Christian. She's a Pentecostal Christian now. My dad's always been Catholic, and I grew up in the Catholic Church, similar to Zoe kind of thing. And my godmother, a fantastic woman, she's Catholic, and I've always been in the church, but I don't know from what age I could say I had a relationship with God per se. I know that there were things I needed to do. I knew that God wanted me to be a good person, and I knew that I had to go to confession, and I had to be honest about when I did stuff that was wrong and whatnot. And that's all I really knew for years, to be honest. And I think sometimes, I mean, maybe, I don't know how it is for other parts of Christianity for when I was younger anyway, but with Catholicism, there is a guilt. Like, if you do something, you have to be able to own up to it in confession. And sometimes confession really scared me, because I'm like, the priest is going to know that I was a bad person. And that used to scare me, because I'm just like, I've got to go into that box, and I know he's not looking at me, but he might be able to make me out through the barbed wire and shit. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, no. Like, I used to be so
all I want to say is, Julie, no offense, you got to stick to voice.
He knows it's
just by the octave of your voice, babe.
And you know what's funny? I feel like little 9-year-old me, like in that particular church I'm thinking of, what was I even thinking I was doing, that I need to go to confession and be getting upset? What was I doing?
I took the Pritt stick home with me.
From the pot.
I took the scissors home with me from school.
Literally, like, what was I crying about? Like, I would listen. I'd go to confession shaking. I would go to confession shaking because I was rude to mum. Oh, I was really bad at home. Da, 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 da. And I'm there, my heart is breaking.
Oh, bless you.
I was like,
9-year-old Julie. Like she literally just looks the same as Julie, but like right now, like literally imagine you as a 9-year-old child.
Her eyes would have even more innocence.
Yeah.
you know what? Like I have to say, when I got older and I guess delving things that you weren't supposed to and stuff, I did sort of completely fall off, and I kind of lost that relationship that I had with my religion and my faith, just because I felt around say 16 when this all happened that because of what I had done, God, I couldn't go to God anymore because he no longer saw me as his daughter, because I can't sin like that and he still loved me. Like I was just like, I guess I'm out of the kingdom. I'm going to hell. I was just like, I felt so guilty, and that carried on for years actually. So all through uni, even though I'd go to church here and there, go to a couple of Bible study classes here and there, I felt in myself that because I was a sinner, I wasn't good enough to go to church, and I wasn't allowed in the, not that I wasn't allowed in the spaces, but I felt so ashamed that I felt like I couldn't be in those places. And I kind of, even after I graduated, I was still kind of in and out of that sort of mindset, and it was really hard actually, because God is the one person that, or like the one being that you would think would always sort of be able to accept you, and I didn't even feel like I had that. So it was really hard for me to even forgive myself with certain things, because if God can't forgive me, who am I to forgive myself? It's like it doesn't work that way. And I think it was probably in tune with the relationship that I was in, that I would just, my faith with God, like my walk with God wasn't making sense. And it wasn't really until I was 20, flipping what, 3? And I started medical school, and I went into church on the Sunday. I moved into Manchester on the Saturday, went to this church on the Sunday, and I walked in and I felt like I came home. And I remember I was sitting in the pews and stuff. And, you know, like, I hope if for our listeners, like, when you go to Catholic church, like, we're solemn, we're singing hymns and that. Like, you know, we ain't here for emotion. You're here to, you know, do your things, say the responsible shit, and then go home. But I was there, I all the readings, the songs that we were singing, the choir in the background, and I cried. Like I cried at least like 4 or 5 times during the service, even with the peace be with you. The tears in my eyes. I was crying like an absolute baby. And I remember I spoke to my cousin about it, who my cousin's a priest, and he was like, that was like your first really big spiritual encounter, and that's powerful. And ever since then, my walk with God has obviously not been perfect, but we've gone from strength to strength together. And I know now, especially over the past year and stuff, that I don't have to be perfect to be loved by God. I don't have to be doing the most to be loved by God. I don't need to. I am still gonna sin, to be fair, and I'm still loved anyway. And realizing that has taught me how to love myself. And I couldn't be more grateful for having that relationship in my life, really. So yeah.
Definitely, guys. Honestly, like Julie, that was overwhelming. I feel like that is exactly that feeling is just a breakthrough. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, guys, honestly, Catholic Church. God forgive me. Actually, I tell you what, in Nigeria, my Catholic church was the boom. Like, it was the bomb. Honestly, it was good. But here, I went and tried to keep going, and I honestly, God forgive me, but I never felt like I gained anything out from it, because just like you said, it is just responses. And I'm not even joking, during the homily, I would drift so far away, to the point where, you know, you catch yourself and you're just like, whoa, like backtrack all of my thoughts as to how I even got into cloud 9. And I felt like when I got older, when I came back from it, I was like, it's not okay anymore. And if I feel like that, then I'm sorry, I can't just keep being in a place where I'm not gaining anything spiritually. I cannot just keep going to somewhere where I am not in tune. And something you said earlier about no matter your dominion or your faith, as in your religion, and I think that is very, very true. And it's about your connection. It is about your one-to-one relationship with the big man upstairs. And it's like, if you feel that in whatever religion you are, and you have that understanding, you have that feeling, be where you be. We will all get there, and we'll figure out what is what then. But for now, in order to kind of get through this thing we call life, that I honestly think like faith is so important. It brings like a salvation just to like being on earth. The amount that I personally have been through in my life, every situation, every experience, for me, it has just proven God's existence each and every time. And I'm not perfect, and I don't go to church as I should. I have definitely found a different church for me, sorry, that is more uplifting. And if Elevation Church was in Britain, child, I would be there every Sunday. I'll be there every Sunday, but
you know what though, can we have a conversation about that? Because you know what, back in the day, yeah, when I used to follow mum to her church, you hear the wildest things that, like, I feel like there's so many expectations as to how you should live as the perfect Christian. Like, you can't be listening to certain types of music, you can't be doing this, that, you got to denounce other people who aren't in this, you have to be a crusader for God, you have to be able to preach, you have to be able to speak in tongues, you have to do this, you have to do that. And I was like, Lord God of heaven, I just want to go. Like, it was just like, it wasn't, being a Christian, it should be a lifestyle, I granted, but it was a thing where I felt like my whole life had to change because all of it was wrong in the eyes of this church. Like, it was just like, damn,
more
like,
judgmental than it was encouraging.
Yeah,
it did feel that way, to be fair. Like, I do feel like even if you people would go through your playlists and stuff, be like, you listen to that person.
Oh wow.
Like,
no, yeah.
And they'll be like, have you watched a documentary on him? Do you not know that he prays to Satan? Like, he's a Freemason.
Oh yeah.
I remember like when there was a song by Rihanna, Jay-Z, and I think Kanye, Run This Town.
We gonna run this down.
See that song? I couldn't tell you what the words were in that song because when it first came out, because it was in that song, that song was praying to the devil. You know, I couldn't hear it. I don't know the words to that song. When Umbrella came out, that shit catchy as hell. Devil song. I was like, yay! I cannot. I was scared to see 666. I was just like, they had me almost listening to Michael Jackson, and I love me some Michael Jackson. So I was like, oh my god, like, no, literally, like, everyone was cancelled. Even certain Christian artists were cancelled because really and truly, they're really worshiping the devil. So I was just like, yay. So can we see where the issues began now with me thinking I'm so good? It can be quite toxic being part of I can't even say religion, sometimes part of a church that has very strong views.
Have you guys been seeing, the blow up about this whole SPAC Nation?
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's almost like a cult, basically.
That's like they're like a really big church, and people are like now exposing some of the pastors that are part of the church on YouTube, saying that they're this, that, and like it's mad. Like,
do you know what? I don't know about that, so I'm not really going to comment on that. But in terms of like things like that coming to light, because there's issues, or there has been issues in Catholic Church as well, in terms of like priests, whatever allegations are there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and I'm not giving a pass to anybody for doing whatever they're doing that is wrong. But the people who run the church are human beings as well. And the fact that they run the church, they're still not God. They are still human beings, and if it's a mistake, it's a mistake. Do you get what I mean? And human beings make a mistake. Even the most righteous man sins at least 7 times a day. So I'm not advocating for the stuff that they do wrong. I'm just saying, when everyone's out there posting YouTube this, pastor did this, priest did this, have you looked at your own life though? Have you?
No, it's true. Don't be
take
throwing
out the
any
from your own eye before you remove the plank from someone else's. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. Obviously, they should be leaders and they should lead by example, definitely, and they should be role models to people. So yes, they're expected to live in a more righteous way. However, they're still human beings, and that's all I'm gonna say on that. So. But Julie, sorry, in regards to what you were saying about churches that are like really pushy, I also feel like there's a downfall with churches who are not pushy enough. And I feel like you need to be in a place where you have the right push that is not over. There are some churches that I can't go to. Like there's some that I don't want to be delivered in the way that you want to deliver me. Do you get what I mean? I don't want to be pushed to the floor or stuff like that. I don't feel like that doesn't help me. I don't feel like I'm saved, child. I don't feel like I'm saved in that way. I don't like. For me, my relationship is different, and it's me.
You must fall down. You must fall down.
I'm telling you, by fire, by force.
It's not by fire, by force. That word. Stop it, please. Why are we bringing fire into this?
It really is by fire, by force.
By fire or by force, for real.
If you don't fall down,
I'll take the fire.
No, literally. If you haven't fallen down in church, have you even been to Pentecostal church? Because really and truly, like, why are you not on the floor?
No.
Have you not received the Spirit?
I've gone with my cousins, and I didn't go to that church anymore. But he was telling us we need to take a spoonful of olive oil or something like that. Take a spoonful of olive oil, and it will bless your something. And you must drink. And he was like proper talking into this olive oil, and then you're spitting into it and expecting me to put this in my mouth. Sorry, sir.
Okay.
You know what?
Actually, is oil used as like in the Bible for like blessing or like symbol?
Yeah, no,
but not swallowing. Anyway, just going back to my point about not being pushy enough. So there's ones that are too pushy, and the ones that are not pushy enough is some Catholic churches that I have been to. I have been to Catholic churches that are run by like a Nigerian society here, and they were good. Like it wasn't pushy. They worshipped, they prayed, they praised, and I felt like I gained something out from it. From the homily alone, I felt, do you know what I mean? Like I was learning something. And I think for me, that's my biggest push. I want to gain something from the church that I go to. Don't just let me give you a response that is from a book and anybody, okay, let me not say that, but you just, reading it from a book and responding to you is not engaging. Reading it from a book and just knowing exactly what you're going to say, or the explanation you give me is so basic that I could have come up with that explanation by myself. I don't feel like I'm gaining anything from you. So I need you to be a little bit more pushy in terms of digging deeper into the knowledge behind the Bible, behind the stories, and the way Furtick does it, honey. His study of the Bible, of the stories is something that blows my mind every time. And he gives you a deeper understanding. Even it makes you reflect to a deeper understanding in your own life, into your own person, from what he has said, and you relate it to something in your life, and you dig deeper and you gain an understanding. And if you're not perfect in reading the Bible, because God knows I'm not, I try, but I'm not perfect at reading it.
Yeah.
But you learn something from something you haven't read yet. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
You learn more parts of the Bible or more stories than what you would have done on your own. But if you're telling me, do you know, the Catholic Church goes through a cycle, isn't it? They have the books and there's readings, first reading, second reading, and the gospel. And with all the readings that we read in church, or I have been a part of, or I have watched or listened to throughout my childhood, I cannot lie, I did not take one away, apart from maybe Peter and the fish in the boat. Honestly, like
Mark's gospel, I remember that.
I mean, like then I didn't take anything away from church, in terms of like the stuff that was happening in the Bible, but now it's different.
I do think, what's it called? To be fair, having a cousin who is a priest now has been super eye-opening, because when he does his homily, so the bit where you kind of explain the readings, I've seen how much effort he puts into writing that, and how passionate he is about God and what he wants to convey, especially to the congregation. He's really good at trying to use that to impact people's lives, and so he's very passionate about it. Like he will go through there, write the draft, kind of like get it sorted and stuff, and he's really passionate about it, especially if it's any message that can relate to young people, because he really wants to get young people in the church. And I realise it really does depend on the priest who is doing the homily within Catholic Church, how much effort they put into it. Because I know from my childhood, I can't lie, I don't remember the homilies, but I was taught from a young age in Catholic Church that the main thing is to make being a good person a part of your lifestyle, not just something that you do on Sunday. That's one thing that I personally can take away from being a Catholic from so young, because having gone to like things with catechists and during the sort of program for my communion and confirmation, the big thing wasn't just about being able to interpret the Bible. It was about how you live your life, how we impact our communities, like that was a big part of how you live. It's how you serve, essentially, with Catholic Church. And to be fair, there isn't for some of the priests aren't big with their homilies, and maybe I don't know how you put that towards them. Like, actually, Father Paul, Father Patrick, can we talk about the way you're talking about, the first reading, second reading? Because I can't even lie, I don't remember it. So in future, could we just discuss it and make it a bit more relevant to 2015, 2015, 20? 2005 even, because. When you're relating, like some of them are kind of like they're just in their own little world. But a couple of the ones that I've seen in the past couple of years have been really good. The younger priests are really good. The younger priests, and ones that have served in relatively young or underprivileged populations, or like because they're good with the demographic, they know how to relate to them, so they're much bigger people. The really old school ones who are kind of like I can't sing in Latin, but you know what I mean, like they're just a bit too old school for me. But hey.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, I guess we're gonna wrap up really. How your other episodes gonna keep it short and sweet. So I guess what would be your take-home messages, guys, for how you would want to kind of advise even your younger self as to how you should navigate your faith? What are you saying, Fee?
Spend time with God, especially when times are good. I think everybody seems to forget that just because things are going good, like it's fine. But I think that's even more of a, not to say that when times are bad you shouldn't be going to God either, but I just feel like it's even more important because people get carried away with the good flow of things, and I think we seem to forget that everything that's happening that is good at that current moment is a blessing. So it is important to praise God, it is important to repent, it is good to ask, and it's good to yield. So just take that on board whenever you're praying. Take that on board in your good times, your bad times, just your day. When you're just genuinely lost, I always go to those, and that's an acronym for pray, by the way. I always go to those points. You praise, you repent, you ask, and you yield. And when I say yield, if you don't like the answer you're hearing, that's the answer you're going to get. And there's a reason.
When God says no, say no. That's it. Okay. Fantastic.
That's it.
Like, I can't tell you how many times I've had no, and I'm just there like, I want it. And then
God
I'm
said
like,
that's cute. I said no.
Exactly. I'm there in my feelings. Like, I'm there in my
It's
feelings. Like, God, I don't know why you said.
And
no,
God said
you
no.
really wanted
I said I
it.
don't care. No.
And then something even better comes along. You're like,
And
you
then
know
it's
what?
like, I told you so.
I haven't doubted you,
I
man.
told you so.
You knew all along, man. I'm so stupid, man. Like, so I'm just saying that. That's
me.
my take-home message.
I think mine is for my younger self, I continue what you were doing. At the end of the day, even if you don't feel the connection when you're in church, just pray on your own. And as you continue to pray, you have set up things for yourself to reap later in life. And you did good. But try not to lose that. And it's like, always come back, and just don't be afraid of coming back. Even when you fall off, even when you drift, just try, and as soon as you realize, just try and come back straight away, because there are some things that I would have realized sooner if I had come back on my journey and realized it was actually something I had asked for when I was little. So it's about coming back and trying to stay in tune for as long as possible. I can't lie, I am so happy when I am in tune with God, because even the little things, whether it's that little bit of petrol, your tank is half empty and it gets you home from the panic, or your tires are feeling wobbly and you still get safe and sound. I have been in a car fire and lived, not a single scratch on my body, but the whole car has been ridiculous. I have been in accidents and the whole car or the whole vehicle has been totaled, and I have been fine. There's so many testimonies I have in my life. So it's just continue to pray. I am telling you.
When Jesus say yes, nobody can say no.
Honestly, I am telling you.
Yes, nobody
Because
can say no.
yeah,
Okay.
don't lose that faith and just come back as soon as you can, because you will get further and further than you are now if you come back as soon as you can to what you believe and to your religion, and just try. Just try. You're not going to be perfect. He doesn't expect you to be perfect. He already knows. He sees your heart. He already knows what you're going to do before you do it. Even the wrongs and the rights. He already knows. So just keep trying and just come back as soon as you can. That's what I would say.
I guess for my younger self and even myself from this time last year, because this time last year I was quite upset about things that were in my life. I think I would just remind myself that no, you're not perfect. You never will be. That's fine. And yeah, you've done things wrong, but that doesn't change how beautiful you are in God's eyes and how precious you are in God's eyes. And despite the fact that you feel like for some reason, unbeknownst to anyone, you think you're not good enough, you have always, 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 always been good enough, lovable enough, and amazing enough to be loved in God's eyes, because He created you at the end of the day. Like, sis, don't like
Yeah.
if it's the one relationship that you hold on to, it's the one that you have with God. Because at the end of the day, like, nobody else has your back in the same way that God does, and you will see it in your life time and time again. When you feel like you've fallen off, or you feel like you're not good enough, or you feel like your strength can't carry you on your own, and something lifts you and something gets you through it, just know that you will, every time you're going to look around and be like, God, I knew it was you. And just hold on to that faith. It will get you through. Just know that it's not always going to be easy, but holding on to that during the good times and the bad times, even the times where like nothing's happening, it's all mediocre. Just continue to pray to God, and you've got this. You've got this. And I and God are so proud of everything that you're gonna be doing in your life moving forward. So hey,
Amen.
Girl, you gave me goosebumps.
Wow.
I got goosebumps all over. Shivers down the back of my neck. Woo! Stop moving in this place. Yes, girl. Yes. Yes.
Nah,
100. Guys, you gotta comment on this one, because we hope we could at least be helpful, if not uplifting. Because I'm uplifted. I'm uplifted. I don't know, Julie. Maybe you should join your cousin.
Honestly,
I cannot. Nah, I went to church today, and
but
you know what?
You felt the presence, mate.
The Spirit has
Oh!
lifted me. What can I say?
The Spirit has lifted you, girl.
Thank you for listening, guys. We have been your hosts as per usual. We are out every second Tuesday, and we hope you enjoyed the podcast. Don't forget to like and share with all of your friends and fam, and stay prayed up. Just keep safe and stay blessed. Goodbye.
Bye.
No stress.